All right, everybody, thanks so much for stopping by another live episode of Real Estate Titans, sponsored by Lion Bolt Media. I'm your host, Greg Fowler, traveling throughout the marketplace, interviewing the top real estate professionals in our field, essentially gathering insight, inspiration, really drives and motivates these top producers above and beyond everybody else in what I'd like to consider a real estate titan. Now, our very special guest and feature titan today, I'm so excited about this one, from beautiful New Jersey, Michelle Pais. Michelle, thank you so much for taking the time. It's an honor to have you on the show.
Thanks, Craig. I'm excited to be here. Thank you for inviting me. I'm excited.
Sure. It's an absolute honor and a pleasure, and I can't wait to dive into the series of questions for everybody out there who's tuning in, whether you're watching or listening live, to really get to know Michelle deeper as a person, as a professional. So, Michelle, without further ado, I guess let's just dive into the first question, which is telling everybody just a little bit about yourself.
Okay, great. So I hate talking about myself. I really do. But
get ready for it. Get ready for it.
Well, my name is Michelle Pais. I am the CEO and team leader of the Michelle Pais Group, also co-founder of Signature Realty NJ. I am, I'm a real estate broker. That's what I do. I sell a lot of homes. I've been doing this for, gosh, now I'm going to say I'm 40. So I started in the business at 21. So what is that, 19 years in the business?
Wow, Michelle.
Yeah, and I got to tell you, it flew by. I mean, blink of an eye, here I am. So it's been great. It's been challenging. It's lots of ups and downs, but overall, I'm smiling. I'm happy. It's a great profession, great field to be in. A lot of hard work, a lot of hustle. But that's who I am. I'm a business owner. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm a marketer. And yeah, I kind of do it all. And now I'm a new mom. Right? So I have to add that to the list too. New mom. And that has been my greatest success story. It really has.
Michelle, you're an absolute inspiration in so many ways, and we're going to dive into those. But, obviously being a part of something incredible that you've built and the reputation that you laid in front of the real estate world, not just New Jersey, but, just around the world, and especially the United States. I mean, number 22 as far as team production in the United States. I mean, we're talking about number 1 in New Jersey, which is incredible, right? That's huge. Yes, standing ovation, applause, everybody, please. But Michelle, that's just awesome. And I want to dive into, obviously, from back in the beginning, gosh, I mean, what got you into real estate in the first place? Why? I mean, what was the drive? And then what was your path up until today, being number 1? I mean, that's an incredible thing.
Yeah, so I was always under the mindset, always, since really early on, if I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it all, or I'm not going to do it at all, right? And that's been my drive. So I'm never, I put my passion, I put everything, my work ethic and everything into anything. So there's a saying, how you do anything is how you do everything. So, and I live by that, right? So if I'm going to do it, I'm going to give it my all, or I'm just not going to do it. It's even same with just being the mom, right? I purposely waited until I was ready and fit because I wanted to be the best mom ever. And going back to my real estate career, it was completely by accident. I didn't grow up thinking I want to sell real estate for the rest of my life. You don't grow up thinking that you're going to do that. Usually, a second career choice by so many, even though now things have shifted because of all these shows, right? You have Million Dollar Listing, and these agents are becoming celebrities, and a lot of people now, they just skip going to college and go right into real estate. But when I started, there was none of that. So I literally I was going to school. I thought I would pursue law, and as a backup plan, I got my real estate license, and I sold my first home, and the feeling was just amazing. I knew that this industry fit me like a glove. This is what I wanted to do, and I knew that off the bat. And 19 years later, here I am, and it's just been there's just been so much growth, so much success, but one thing I have to say, that it never changed who I was. I am the most humble person, and every time I talk about it, I always, either talk with my team or in interviews or even a social media post, I always hashtag humble, because you can't ever forget how you started, where you come from. I come from nothing, zero. I was born in a 2-bedroom apartment in the Bronx from family. My mom and dad are immigrants. They were farmers, and so I never changed who I was. And one thing I can say, till this day, I am the same Michelle that I was 20 years ago, and that's really kept me going. I mean, I have I'm very grounded, and I'm grateful for that. That the success has not changed me at all. And that's something that I hope that I can inspire other people to just start thinking that way as well.
I think that's,
and be a good person. I always say that. Be a good person.
You're right.
Good. And move forward. So that's
I think it's extremely compelling. And again, giving everybody just a window into, your personality and who you are, and then what got you into it. I mean, Michelle, that's incredible. And obviously you had mentioned growth and even in times as we've all been dealing with as of late, right? I mean, you just opened up a fourth location. Is that right? Can you tell everybody a little bit about that? I mean, that's growth. That's serious growth, right?
Yeah. And this was during COVID.
Right.
So I'll tell you the story. I'm dying to tell the story.
Please.
So we were in the middle of COVID-19 and I was on a listing. Well, I was on a listing appointment. Yes. And we were, wearing masks, and this was like the very first listing appointment in a while, because we were kind of shut down for 2 months. And so I didn't know, what to expect and how the sellers would perceive me as, or, the whole experience was just, different. So I masked up, I had my mask, my gloves, and I walked into this listing appointment, and it was in Summit, New Jersey. And I ended up getting, long story short, I ended up getting the listing. And, but I had competitors, and they were interviewing several other realtors. And I remember the seller calling me and saying, we're gonna go with you, but by the way, your competitor, this person that we interviewed, said not so good things about you. And I'm like, oh wow, geez, competition not saying good things? But I've never heard that one before, right?
Right.
And I remember one thing that stood out. She says, this person said, don't go with Michelle Pais because she doesn't have an office in Summit, New Jersey. So I was 8.5 months pregnant, COVID-19. When I heard that, I got in my car. I drove down Summit, downtown. I see this big for rent sign, and it was the perfect spot. I call up the landlord. I negotiated a great lease, because at the time I could, you could.
Sure.
And he accepted my offer. 30 days later, here we are. We're opening up an office. So that's how the fourth started. And, it's like, maybe it was me being pregnant and I was hormonal, or all of the above, but everything always happens for a reason. So yes, I am excited. Fourth location in fantastic town. And right now, I mean, my focus is on luxury market. That's where I do the majority of my business. It's where, I focus a lot of my time, and it's my forte. I enjoy it. I love what I do. And yeah, Summit marks our fourth, and we have more. We're opening up more across the state. So
that is incredible. And Michelle, I love that story. And I know everybody is listening to that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess the moral of that story to anybody out there who's watching, be careful what you say about your competitors, because you never know what they're going to do after the fact. And obviously accepting a challenge and then, really going forward. I think that's beautiful.
And don't mess with a pregnant woman, right?
Don't do it.
Yeah, don't mess 8.5 months pregnant. I was about to pop, and here I am negotiating lease office spaces. Like, I need my own show. I swear I need my own show.
I agree with that 100%. Hey, if any producers are watching, please.
Yeah.
But Michelle, no, this is fantastic. And I really want to go, this segues into the next question, because I think it dives a little bit deeper into you and to your whys. Obviously, extremely accomplished and really just growing and making huge changes into the real estate world. And obviously the clients and the team that you serve and everything along those lines. But this is the second portion, which is, what's your why? I mean, what motivates you? What drives you? Gets you excited every day out of bed to do what you do to the level you do it at?
Yeah, well, my why now is very different than it was, 19 years ago. My why now is my daughter. That's my why.
Beautiful.
But yeah, I would say, I'm still so passionate and excited about what I do. So yes, I do wake up every morning with a smile on my face, eager to go to work and just crush it. And that has never ever changed. And I think that when you stop being passionate about what you're doing, that's when it's time to probably look for something else. But until then, I'm having so much fun. I'm growing every day. I'm learning something new. And I think that I'm somebody that always constantly needs to to be challenged, and I need to continue to grow. Once I stop growing, I get bored, and I just kind of, it's not fun anymore. So, I'm just a very determined woman, and I love seeing the fruits of my labor. I really love that, and planting the seeds and just kind of watching, the flower grow. And it sounds cliche, but it's true. It's really true. I just enjoy it, and it's something that, right now I'm building a legacy. I'm building a legacy for my daughter, and that is my big why. And I got to tell you, having a daughter or a child, it gives you that much more motivation. It really, really does. And I was motivated before, but now I'm very, very motivated and determined, and I have a lot going on. I'm in the middle of writing a book, my first book.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Please share. I mean, if you wouldn't mind letting everybody know, that's a great announcement.
I mean, like I don't have any other things going on. Right now I'm writing a book. Yeah, the idea of writing a book was something that started during COVID-19. I had a little bit of downtime. And so I just want to be able to share my story. I hope to motivate. And it's not just a real estate book. It's for anyone that's an entrepreneur, that's in any field, really. It's a business book. But, I literally came from nothing. Okay, I didn't finish college and graduate from college, but I jumped right into real estate, and I learned everything on my own. Sure, I had mentors, not the best, but I did have mentors, and there were definitely people that, inspired me. But the majority of it was self-taught, and I've grown a lot. I made so many mistakes, but I wanted to write a book for those that are either seasoned professionals or those that are new, that I'm kind of setting, the path and the roadmap for them, so that they don't have to go through the same mistakes and challenges that I've gone through. Wow. And so it's really step by step. This is where it's a step by step. It's a business book. It really, really is. And the title of it, we did come up with the title, and you tell me what you think. It's not written in stone, but Secrets from Secretary to CEO. That's great. That's kind of what we came up with, and it's just it's a journey, and there's a lot of tips. There's a lot of things in that book that no one teaches you. Wow. For example, there's no book, there's no there's no video that can teach you the things that I'm going to teach you, because these are things that a lot of people don't talk about, and I'm giving it all. I'm throwing everything out there. It's literally an open book, so I'm excited about that. It's in the works. It's about halfway done, but I'm a perfectionist, so it has to be perfect. So I don't know. I'm hoping to launch it by the end of the year. Okay. But we'll see. I mean, we'll see how busy I keep getting. So.
Michelle, please let me know so I can let everybody out there who's watching or listening, and just launch that out, whether it's on Amazon or anything along those lines. Love to share it. I always enjoy a signed copy. I'm kind of a book fiend. So, if that ever comes to the cards, I have no problem paying for that, Michelle. So, but yeah, I'm super excited. So please let us know. And then everybody out there, you'll know as well when that comes out too. So Michelle, but this is really, really good. And again, answering that question to your whys, your drivers, your family and your community and your daughter, and building that legacy. I mean, it really explains to a lot of people out there, if they were curious as to how you're able to accomplish what you do and why you do it, that says it and then some. So I love that answer. I think that's really, really great in the evolution of that time. Let's go into which is what everybody wants, right? This is what everybody tunes in for. They're like, we don't want the fluff, Greg. We want the right stuff. We want to learn from the best. So speaking on that tone, this is actually a crowd pleaser for everybody who's watching or listening. They want to learn from the Titans. They want to really understand how you have grown and scaled your business. So if you could look back and pick or choose one or two things that you might have added to your business or adjusted, that you really saw an uptick or a change in dynamic, that you could share with everybody out there to help them, what would you say? What's that look like for you?
Yeah, so one thing I should have done early on, and which I didn't, was I should have fired myself from certain tasks. Okay, so Michelle today would have told Michelle, 10 years ago, hey, you know what? You probably shouldn't be doing this task. You can outsource this or hire somebody else. That will free up so much of your time to just focus on producing activities. And, I'll give you an example. Up until not too long ago, I was still inputting listings into the multiple listing system. So if you're a real estate agent, you know what I'm talking about. I was still doing a lot of, the tasks that right now, it's like I couldn't even see myself doing that. I'm so glad I fired myself, but it took a while. And it's just, it took me going to a Tony Robbins seminar And for me to walk out of there and just say, oh my God, I had an epiphany. I am doing it all wrong. I need to fire myself, because if I don't fire myself from these tasks, I'm never going to grow. Wow. And so then I came back, and I am someone that's very coachable. I literally just followed it. I fired myself. I started hiring my first assistant, and then I hired my marketing manager. And then from there, I just started building a team. And so I was a solo agent for over 10, 12 years, actually more than that. Yes, I did run a brokerage. So, I was the manager, broker of record, and still, working in the business. And I was doing it all. And I got burnt out. I wasn't able to scale. I was at a ceiling. I was leaving so much business on the table because I physically wasn't able to follow up with everybody. And that is a common problem. It's a great problem to have, but it's actually really common when you are, when you're a solo agent and you're just growing so much. So my advice is, when you're at that point that, you just can't do it anymore, or you're losing business, you need to fire yourself from activities that aren't making you any money. And you need to, implement systems and people, right? I mean, there's no I in team. There really isn't. The Michelle Pais group is made up of 8 team members, and this is not a one-person show. This year, we were just named the #1 team in New Jersey and #2 in the country, which I'm so proud of that, because I've been working for this for many years. But I would say the needle mover was just having the systems in place, training, organization. Oh my God, everything needs to be organized and systemized. And then once you're able to have the foundation in place and you're able to add all these different layers, the sky's the limit, right? Either you're selling, 10 houses or 10,000 houses. It's okay, because to see how you have the system built. And that is the key. That is when I was able to grow. It's just being able to build that way and have everything systemized. And we can't forget about marketing. Marketing is everything, right? You are a marketer before anything. I am a marketer, comma real estate agent. So you have to put yourself out there. You have to do, podcasts and videos and things like this and all that stuff. And don't be afraid to put yourself out there. Too many people are afraid. They're afraid to be criticized. They're afraid to, they're just afraid, and fear will hold you back. And I was afraid. Up until years ago, I was afraid of putting myself out there because I didn't want to be criticized, and I cared what people thought about me. Now I don't give a shit.
Yes.
I just say that. You can bleep me out.
No, that's good. It's really good.
I am so comfortable in my own skin. I know who I am. I know what I've gone through, and there's nothing that anyone can say that will ever, bring me down, because I've gone through all of that. But don't be afraid of putting yourself out there. Not everyone's gonna love you.
Sure.
And but you are gonna have people that are gonna love you and admire you. And you know what? You're doing this for those. That's your audience, and that's an advice. My biggest advice I can say. My best advice. To those that are, in the industry or any industry, don't be authentic. Don't be afraid to put yourself out there. People will love you, and they'll see right through you too.
Oh my gosh, Michelle, there is so much in that section that you answered. It's absolutely incredible. Hopefully everybody was pausing, or you're going to, after the fact, take notes. I mean, reach out to Michelle. I'm going to have all of Michelle's links, social media connections, any websites that are there so that you can follow and learn. And again, Michelle, this has been just absolutely incredible with that portion. And that's, people really tune in to learn from the best. And that in and of itself, firing yourself and looking at the highest, best use of your time, and, really looking at it from the standpoint of building systems and time blocking and not being afraid to be yourself and being authentic and putting yourself out. I mean, all that stuff is incredible. And the thing is, you're not just saying it, you've done it and continue to do it. And that's the point, is you walk the talk, you see the results. And this is what hopefully everybody's getting out there, is it doesn't happen by itself. It doesn't happen overnight. You have to put a lot of work in and consistency, but this is a perfect example of what you can achieve if you're doing the right things and surrounding yourself with great people, as you mentioned, the team too. So Michelle, that's been incredible. Now I want to shift gears. This is the tricky part of the interview in the series. It's the challenge question. So it is changing the tone a little bit. So sorry, everybody. I don't want to be a downer, but this is the tricky part.
By the way, I didn't prepare for this interview, so I have no idea what you're going to ask. This is literally coming,
right off the cuff.
Right off the cuff.
we spoke before we went live. She is no joke. This is just straight off the cuff. So Michelle, you're going to be good. Trust me when I tell you, but this is a tricky part. It's, if you're looking at it, back in your life, we've all dealt with challenges, right? Whether it's in the past, we're dealing with them now, or into the future. And we all have struggle, pain, or sorrow, whether it's personal or professional. But I'm a firm believer, no matter what happens, it's what we learn and what we can grow from and share that truly matters. And again, not to downplay pain or sorrow, that's no excuse for that. But if there is a challenge personally or professionally that you overcame, you became stronger because of it, what's that look like for you?
Oh man, that is a great question. I wish I did prepare for this one.
Sorry.
I mean, struggles. Oh man, there were so many. I think, okay, early on in my career, and I was young. I was 20 years old. It was really hard. People wouldn't take me seriously because I was so young, right? And especially in the real estate game, it's like people, what do you know? You don't even own a home, and you're trying to sell a home, but you don't even own a home. So I had the biggest pain was that I was part of an office, a brokerage that unfortunately the leader wasn't that good of a leader. And so being a girl, being new in the industry, and I was very aggressive. I think a lot of I definitely shook things up a lot. And I think I made people to feel uncomfortable in the sense that they saw this, this person that is so, vibrant and has so much energy. And it almost, I felt like I didn't belong in that office because that office was all, middle-aged, older, women, and they were all used to a certain way of doing business. And I just shook them up and they got very uncomfortable with it. And so that's when things started to happen. Like, just to kind of give you an example of the pain and struggle. I mean, rumors were spread about me. My tires were slashed in the parking lot by my fellow agents or co-workers, because they didn't want me to go on appointments. I would have open houses, and they would go around and they would turn my open house signs upside down so that no one would come to my open houses. I mean, it was just such a horrible time. And I remember coming home days and just crying. I'm like, oh my God, like, I don't think I can do this anymore. Like, people are so mean. Like, this is the worst industry in the world. People are so catty, and the gossip, and it was just horrible. And for years, I was in this toxic environment of these women just, just really hating on me. And I got to tell you, that was the best thing that ever happened to me. It really was, because that made me who I am. Like, that, if I didn't have that, I gotta be honest with you, I don't think they helped me develop like such a thick skin. And if anything, they gave me all that hate, gave me so much drive and so much motivation. It was almost like you know what? I'm gonna do great, and my revenge is gonna be success. And so that poisonous environment that I was, that I was a part of, it gave me so much motivation and determination. So everything that happened during that time, which was bad. I mean, I'm gonna give you a piece of it. I mean, there's so much more to that story. But looking back, and this is something that I actually write in my book, it gave me the strength and the courage to kind of just say, you know what, I'm gonna do this, and I'm gonna show you guys, and the rest is history. So, I mean, that's kind of, we don't have enough time for me to go into all the struggles, but it was a lot. I mean, it was a lot. And I think the average person would have just turned around and be like, you know what, I'm out. I'm going to go sell ice cream. And it just, it's something in me that kind of just, that just lit up. And ever since then, I just became this, like, this person that just was unstoppable in that sense. And I always think back to, where I was and how I got started. And nowadays, you don't really see that. And I got to be honest with you, that's one of the reasons why I opened up Signature Realty. So, people are always like, why did you go on my own? Because I used to work for independent, and then I went to corporate. And at that point, I decided to open up Signature Realty. And the reason that I did that was because I wanted to have a place where people, everyone worked together, and there was no, it was competitive, but it was friendly competition. And the environment, I wanted to be a warm environment, almost like a mom and pop, a friendly environment. People would feel comfortable walking into the office and knowing that, people had their back. And this industry is very, very competitive, and it's so cutthroat. And I wanted to change that even within my own office. That is why I opened up Signature, because of the experiences that I had as an agent. And I didn't want anyone to ever have that, because it was a bad experience. And I'm really proud. Our office is it's amazing. I mean, we are such a great group, and we're all family, we're friends, and we work so well together. And I don't know how it is in other offices, but in my office, it's like that. And that's something that I'm very proud of. And my husband, who is my partner and is actually the broker of record of Signature, he has the seek to serve mentality, and it's all good. I mean, he's done such a great job in just developing the agents and that culture, right? And so we're very proud of that. So,
wow. And Michelle, when you're talking about everything there, first of all, thanks for sharing that. It's not easy to air your stuff out in front of everybody. However, I also want to thank those haters years ago, because like you said, without that, you wouldn't be the person you are today. And it did make you stronger, right? It's that adage, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. And I think that a lesser person would have given up. And I think that the message for everybody out there is, again, there's so many different industries and thought processes, and not everything is a nurtured scenario. Most of it is pretty volatile into real estate, and it has changed over time. And don't get me wrong, but there's a lot of competition. And I think that at the end of the day, use that as fuel. Right? Use it as fuel. Look at what Michelle did. And it's just so incredible. And I'm glad that you didn't give up and you kept moving forward, because look at where you are today. Right? So it's just,
I mean, the hate doesn't stop. But 2 months ago, I opened up an office in some, hey, it's it is my fuel. It just fuels me. You know what? Listen, I need that, you need that. You almost need that. So yes, thank you. Thank you.
Yes, that's it. Hey, thank you, haters. It is what, and again, I think that unfortunately, when people are spiteful or hateful, or they look at somebody that way, and hopefully this isn't anybody watching or listening, but it's inadequacies in their own lives. It's things that they're not able to accomplish for whatever reasons that they put on themselves, whatever limitations that they have. And so they have to do something to somebody else to try to bring that down to their level. And it's a sad reality, but we all deal with it. But again, you do not have to succumb to it. You do not have to let it define you in a negative. Look at what you did. It's a perfect example. I love hearing that. It's super inspirational. And again,
you went deep with that question. Oh man, I throw out those and there's so much more. We don't have enough time to go into all the pain and the hurt, but it was a rough journey, man. I gotta tell you, I have climbed many, many, many mountains, and there is no elevator to the top. I took those pictures.
Love it. Michelle, no, this is killer. And everybody out there, I know they appreciate it too. And so we did get through the tough stuff. That was the tough question. This is actually my favorite question coming up here. We only got a few left. And this ends up being the travel back in time question. Now, we already discussed, you really wouldn't want to change anything you went through because it made you who you are, right? Positive or negative. But if you could go back in time, any time frame, any age range of your life, and give your younger self a piece of advice, what would you say to younger Michelle?
Younger Michelle should have opened up her brokerage by herself. Okay, so when I opened up my brokerage, I was very young. I was 30 years old. Wow. Well, I guess not that young, but I was afraid. I lacked confidence, even though I guess what everyone saw or people saw me in a different light than the way I saw myself, right? So people saw me as, wow, this woman's a go-getter, and watch out for her type of thing. And I saw myself as, I still lacked that confidence, even though I was doing so well. I mean, I was selling 100 homes a year, and I was killing it. But I still lacked that confidence. And I let that inner voice, right, which I tell people, don't let that inner voice, don't listen to that voice. That's what I preach now. But I had that voice. And that's why, unfortunately, I listened to that voice and I was so insecure. I lacked confidence, and I went into business with somebody that I probably, knowing what I know now, I would never have done that. So, so I guess just pick your partner wisely. Pick your partner wisely. And it's just, unfortunately for me, it was a lesson that I've learned, and I'm talking about it. And I can't believe how open I am with you right now. Like,
this is great. I appreciate it.
I haven't shared that story with anybody, but it's in my book. It's in my book, and it really, really is. I mean, who you do business with is very important. I am someone that's so guarded now with the people of my life. I have a very, very small circle, just because I have been taken advantage of by so many people, and people that got close to me, and people that I worked with, people that most my friends and friendships and things like that. And it's just, unfortunately, like, I ended up not getting the the better side, I should say. I didn't end up winning on some of these relationships, but it's just be careful who you work with, and who you bring into your circle. And as a brokerage, as a business owner, and as a team leader, one thing that, if for those of you out there that are team leaders or that own a brokerage, one person can ruin everything, right? All you need is one person, to kind of build, to ruin what you've built. And I always say, if there's a cancer in the mix, cut it quickly. Don't let it prolong, don't let it keep going. So I think I would have also kind of, just ended a lot of relationships that I think that negatively affected me in the business quicker. And again, listen, you go through this in life, and no one's perfect, and you're learning. Like, no one taught me how to run a company. No one taught me, any of this stuff. You're not born with this stuff. You're learning as you go. But one thing I can say is that no one, when I was growing, I never dreamt of this level of success. Never. This was not something that to me was reachable or attainable, right? I see everybody else, and I'm like, that they're great. I can't do that. I'm just I'm a girl from the Bronx, right? I'm just a girl from the Bronx. I'll never be able to get to that level. And so no one has ever sat down with me and said, you know what? Success is it's really lonely at the top, and be prepared, because when you get there, there's going to be a lot of people that are throwing rocks at you. No one taught you how to do this stuff, or how to react, or how to. And I'm rambling in circles right now, because
this is great.
But like, this was like such a question that I just came out of left field. But yes, I would probably say, pick your business partners, pick your friendships, pick the people in your circle, your relationships wisely. And that's what I would say to my younger self.
I love that question, and your answer is impeccable. We can't go back, right? We can't change anything, but we can change today. And anybody who's watching or listening, myself included, that advice is extremely important to note. And the best and brightest minds, and this is thrown out several different versions, but your vision gets larger, your circle gets smaller. And some people say it is lonely at the top, things like that. Other people will have the other side of that coin. To me, you do have to pick your relationships wisely. You're guilty by association, and in true fashion, who you surround yourself with, you become, positive or negative. And it's sometimes hard to see that. Obviously, you experience that in your life, and I'm sure there's tons of people that are watching and listening to this that say, "Yeah, I hired the wrong person, or I partnered up with this wrong person." Yeah, but again, you learn from it. You grow from it. You don't let it slow you and stop you. It might hurt. It might really sting. But again, it's not always just going to be the one and done. People are constantly learning and growing and failing forward. And I think that's what defines success is, okay, you fell off. Are you going to get back on and do it again? You're going to fall off again. It's okay. It's a part of life. So you're living that, Michelle. It's really, really inspiring, again, to hear it and have these conversations, because I just love it. I know everybody's digging it right now, because I am, for sure. But this is really—
we can't go back and edit my answers. These are all real. I mean, I'm being really real right now. I'm being very vulnerable. I'm just kind of letting it out. I mean, that's one thing that for so many years, I've always struggled with being myself, because I never knew how people would, look at that and just perceive me. And I was always trying to be all things to all people. And I got to tell you, the second that I just became who I am, and be myself, that's when things started to change. Like,
Wow.
I'm comfortable, like I said, in my own skin, and my business has grown so much more because of it, because you're true to who you are, and that comes across now in interviews like this. So
Oh, this is awesome. Michelle, this is so great. And everybody, you're welcome. You are welcome. I can say that 100%. But so we got 2 questions left. We're almost done. This one is the secondary crowd pleaser, because everybody wants to learn the way the Titans learn. And what I mean by that is, how you're feeding your mind in variation. So anything that stands out to you with books you're reading or have read that you really love or enjoy, podcasts that you love to listen to, if it's YouTube videos or channels that you really subscribe to. You had mentioned Tony Robbins as far as conferences or conventions, things like that. If it's masterminds, how are you feeding your mind?
Yeah. So again, right now it's difficult because I am a new mom. So a lot of the books are actually, I'm reading the books on, motherhood. I mean, that's what I'm doing right now. I want to be the best mother in the world. So a lot of the books are about that, about parenting. But prior to that, I mean, I was reading the book Ego is Your Enemy.
Okay.
Great book. Highly recommend it.
Okay.
Read it. And I do listen to Tony Robbins. Like, I'm a huge fan. So I definitely follow him, and I do have, I'm lucky and fortunate that I have my husband who's like such an inspiration, and he's like the smartest, most brilliant person ever. I mean, his mind it never stops. He's brilliant. And I do lean on him a lot for things like that. I mean, he's just you should have him on the show. I mean, you really should. He's my mentor. He's my coach. And he is just a genius. And I listen a lot to him. And I am lucky that I can just, call him up or just walk over and just say, hey, babe, help me with this. And I'm struggling with this. And how would you do this? And he has been a key in a huge part of my growth and my success. And he's a great partner and inspiration. So I got to say, do lean on him a lot. And he's writing a book. His book is working on for, 10 years. Okay.
Okay. All right.
It's like this big. And he's just anything from financial education to psychology to mindset and personal development. I have him. So.
Wow. And when
I married him.
You got a good one there. And that's the key, right? We're all looking for that standard. He's setting the bar.
Pick your people wisely, because surround yourself with good people. If it's not a good relationship, end it. Move on. There's people out there.
I love the fact that you're getting information from different sources, and as you stated, and different inspirational portions and relationships, and but you're constant learning, you're constantly growing, and again, having those relationships that you can lean on and get perspective, a mirror, right, a soundboard, and I think that's crucially important. But for everybody out there, please take that away. Constantly learn, constantly grow, lean on people in your sphere, but make sure that they're people that I guess have been to the destination that you're looking to go. I mean, it's very difficult to get advice from somebody who's never really done that, never really gone through or experienced it. And that's why anybody who's watching or listening to this, they're getting a ton of information out of you, Michelle, because you've been there. I've said this multiple times through this interview. It's insane what you've been through and what you do. And again, it's coming out. It's literally coming out of you. So hopefully everybody, if you're not watching this and you're just listening on iTunes or Spotify, just go back and watch. You'll see the enthusiasm out of Michelle. It's absolutely incredible.
I have so much more to tell. I mean, it's just, don't get me started.
This is great.
I'll save it for the book.
Please. And again, Michelle, this has been a pleasure and an honor. We really have one question left to wrap everything up. And this last one is a quote or mantra that sums you up as a professional, as a person. What's that look like for you?
Oh, wow. Man, a quote that will sum me up as a person. Oh, man, that is a hard one. I mean, it's such a tough one. I mean, I'm trying to think of, I mean, I think I said it before, how you do anything is how you do everything. It is, I mean, that's the quote that I live by. It's written on my wall at one of my offices, and it's true. And it really sums me up. Everything that I do, I put my all into. I never, ever cut corners. And that's in my work, that's in my personal life, that's in the way I dress, the way the way my friendships, just everything I have, I go all or nothing. And I do have the personality. I am an extremist. And up until, not too long ago, I didn't like being an extremist. I wanted to have that balance. But you know what? I'm glad I'm an extremist, because being an extremist really allows me to just, push it to the next level. And in the back of my mind, I always want to be the best at whatever it is that I'm doing. So I guess that's the quote I'll leave you with. How you do anything is how you do everything.
I absolutely love that. And it resonates all the way through and through. And it speaks truly to who you are, Michelle. I mean, that makes 100% sense. It's been an absolute pleasure just to have this conversation with you and feel your energy and your passion. And there's no doubt in my mind, obviously, there's so many reasons why you've had so much success in your life so far and will continue to do so. So this has just been incredible. So I do want to say you are an official real estate titan. So that is a thing. That is official. Yeah, I just can't thank you enough, Michelle. It's been an honor.
Pleasure. Thank you. This was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And you're great, because you actually had me open up a lot, and most people don't. So you're good.
Oh gosh, you're too kind. You're too kind. I just love the conversation, and hopefully everybody does too. So, but everybody, as always, I want to thank you for your time and your attention, your love and support. If you like here what we're doing with Real Estate Titans, you know what to do at this point. Please like, subscribe. I do have to give our sponsor a quick shout out, Lion Bolt Media. If you are in real estate, you're looking to grow and scale your business in your local markets, domination for exposure and market awareness, brand awareness for buyers and sellers, and you're looking for lead generation, automation, follow-up, and nurturing for conversion, visit lionboltmedia.com. We are live here every Tuesday and Friday afternoon, a different Titan, a different location. We'll catch everybody in the next live episode of Real Estate Titans. Take care. Thanks, Michelle.
Thank you. Thank you.